Hi guys, it is Sahara back with a what sold video. Today I am bringing you 2 weeks of sales. So from August 15th to August 28th. So these are the sales that literally just happened in my business. So you can see what is selling right now on eBay, Poshmark, and Depop and Mercari because I have a little bit of everything to show you today. In this time period, my sales were the first week, they were a little slower. Second week, they picked up a little bit, but they're not where I'd like them to be right now. Definitely had some slow days. I think my slowest day, I did $69 in sales. And then my slowest day order-wise, I had only 6 orders on a slow day. And then my busiest day was after I decided to run a sale on my eBay store, and I did $270 that day. So just some numbers to give you perspective. Altogether in these 2 weeks, I did $1,989 in sales. That is after shipping and fees. Yeah, let's get right into it. I've got some great items to show you guys that'll hopefully help you when you're outsourcing. Okay, so one thing I did recently, I've been trying to go through my inventory piece by piece and make sure all my items are listed, because what happens to me at least, and maybe to some others out there, is I will take my listing pictures and then I immediately go and put the item away wherever it belongs. And then sometimes for whatever reason, if I was missing a picture or a measurement, or I just didn't want to list it, and then a few days go by and I take more photos, like an item gets lost in my pictures and it doesn't wind up getting listed, but it's put away. So for months, or not quite years, because I do this, probably once a year, if not more often, go through and check. But yeah, for months, the item will be sitting in my inventory, but it's not listed. And so that's what happened with this sweatshirt. It's a quarter zip fairway in green Italian merino wool sweater. It is only merino wool on the outside, though. It does have like a regular lining. And this piece had not been listed. I went through and found it, got it listed, and it sold within just a couple weeks for $18. So I think that's a decent price because this was just from the bins, something laying around in my inventory. I definitely recommend doing that from time to time if you know there's even the slightest chance there could be items sitting around that are not listed. Yeah, definitely some proof that fall and winter pieces are selling more. I have heard other resellers saying that, and that's definitely what I am seeing. Next up, I sold this little Lucky Brand top. I usually try to only pick up bigger sizes in Lucky Brand tops, like large and up, but this little top was a medium and it was so cute. So I grabbed it, and it actually sold in just a few days for $13 on Poshmark. So I made about 10 bucks on that, and it only cost me probably $1. Okay, next up, this was a brand of leggings I had heard of, but I wasn't 100% sure on what the comps would be, but I grabbed them at the bins. The brand is called Buff Bunny. Let me see if I can show you guys the tag. That's what it looked like. So on the inside, it's definitely clear and spelled out. And these were an extra small. Otherwise, I'm sure you could get a little more for them. But these sold fairly quickly for $19. So happy with that. Okay, next up is this fun Barefoot Dreams piece I got at the bins. I actually thought this was a robe when I picked it up, just because of the, Barefoot Dreams classic material. It feels way more robe-y to me than a dress, but this was actually a dress, and it had pretty good sell-through rate. I could have got more like $50 for this, but somebody sent me an offer for $40 in just a couple days, so I accepted it. I was happy with that. Since it came from the bins, I've been finding Barefoot Dreams pretty often lately at the bins, and they've actually been selling really well for me. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Okay, next up, this is another one that was in my inventory. I thought it was listed, and it wasn't. It's a Ralph Lauren men's 100% wool blazer. I used to pick these up. I don't know what is going on with the pictures here. That is so strange. Anyways, I used to pick these up pretty often. But I kind of had slowed down on blazers in general because I'd been trying to figure them out, and I'd picked up some that just didn't do well. So I kind of stopped, other than a couple really high-end brands I still look out for. But I've heard from some other resellers like Kaylee Aline was my absolute favorite to watch, that blazers, like Ralph Lauren especially, does pretty well this time of year, the wool ones going into fall and winter. So when I found this unlisted, I figured let me go get this listed, see how it does. I think I listed around $40 or $50, especially since it was a larger size. But since I had been sitting around my inventory for so long unlisted, I was just happy to get it moving. I got an offer for 25 bucks and I took it. And these Ralph Lauren blazers are pretty easy to find at the bins, I feel like, because blazers are one of those things where they just get so many donated and there's not that many people buying them, that if you're at the bins and you take the time to actually go through all the blazers, which nobody at the bins does, you can find some goodies. Okay, so next up I sold these Tory Burch flats, loafers, whatever you want to call them. I saw these at the regular Goodwill clear as day. They have the Tory symbol on them, that nice big T. So I grabbed these. I think I paid $8 or $9 for them, and I had them listed for a few months. So I tried to stay firm on my price, and they did wind up selling pretty close to my full asking price for $40. So I was happy with that. Always will grab Tory Burch, pretty much anything, even at the regular Goodwill. Next up, oh no, I closed this out. Okay, I'll have to find that and reopen it. Okay, next up, we have some Hey Dudes. These are in like brand new condition. Found these at the bins, a little bit different style from the classic style, but just if you can find them and they're in such good condition, you can get more like $20 to $30 for Hey Dudes, I feel like. These sold for $24. In more like average worn condition, I more get like $15 or so for them. But yeah, these were a quick sale. Took only like a week to sell and they came from the bins. Okay, next up, Abercrombie and Fitch. This is one of their bodysuits. Kind of had like a wrap, ruched off the shoulder kind of look. A lot of things going for it. This is a soft Abercrombie collection. And their bodysuits do really well. A lot of people want that kind of like seamless top they can tuck into a high-waisted jeans and stuff really easily. So these are really appealing. This I had listed for a couple weeks, I think, and it sold for $15, and it came from the bins. So just keep an eye out for those. All right, next up, eBay. I got this Anthropologie brand I found a couple times recently. Before that, I'd never heard of it. It's called Hey Hey. This is what the tag looked like. I feel like if you're used to picking up Anthropologie, you can kind of tell, like, doesn't this kind of just look like an Anthropologie like style tag to me? It definitely did. So I saw these and I decided to look them up. They were linen blend and stuff anyways, and wide leg. So they had some factors anyways that would make me a little more curious about them. And I had these listed for $20 and they sold on offer for $14 and they came from the bins. So definitely something I would grab again. Next up, speaking of Tory Burch, picked up this Tory sport dress at my regular Goodwill. Let me see if I have a picture of the inside. So I actually had to wash this because it had some makeup marks on it. And this tag area was already pretty worn, but it got even more worn in the wash. So when I saw it at the store, all I could make out was Tory Sport. And so I was like, is this Tory Burch? And it also had this little key with kind of like a T symbol. So I did like a Google Lens search or just searched Tory Sport, I think, on eBay really quick, and I found out it was. And then that same day I found two Tory Burch dresses on the same rack with it. So I already sold one of those, and then I sold this one. And this one, it had mixed comps, you know. It didn't have the best sell-through rate, so that's why I was open to offers on it. I initially listed it for $75, but I wound up selling it for about $45. But I only paid $8 for it, so I'm happy with moving it fairly quickly and getting a good return on it. Okay, next up, this was a cool dress I found at the bins. Had surprisingly really good sell-through rate. I grabbed it mostly because it was kind of artsy looking. It was 100% silk, kind of Y2K vibe. And so, yeah, this was by the brand Simply Silk. And this brand specifically had really good comps. So definitely keep an eye out for this brand of kind of Y2K silk style dresses. Sold for my full price of $39 in just a couple weeks. Okay, this is a linen brand you definitely want to know about. It's called Flax. Very distinctive tag. I found a couple pieces of this recently at the bins. I was pretty excited. So yeah, Flax by Jean Engelhardt. And it's usually made in Lithuania, and they're 100% linen. Really kind of boxy, oversized, login-look pieces. I sold this one for $22, I think, on an offer. I could have held out for more, but like I said, sales have been slow, guys. So I am trying to keep things moving, trying to pay off debt. I'm not trying to sit around on items when I could be making a profit. So next up, another one I love finding is Oh My Gauze. This is like 100% cotton brand, another kind of login looky style. This was a size 3, which is like their bigger size. They might have a 4, but you don't see that very often. So size 3 is like an extra large slash extra large, I think. And so yeah, this was like a perfect piece. Didn't really have much wrong with it. All white, kind of coastal, beachy. It's kind of what you want in this kind of brand. So this sold for $16 on an offer. Once again, could have hang out for more, but I just took the offer. Okay, another kind of out of the ordinary pickup for me was this motorcycle jacket, the bins. My husband actually started kind of helping me a bit more with my business, so he went along with the bins to me, and I don't know, I usually look into jackets, but for whatever reason, didn't really grab this one in the bin, and he was like, hey, what's this? This looks nice, like, we should look this up. I'm like, okay, sure, I guess. And so all it said on it was Stella. It does have this A star, but I didn't know what that was at the time. And it's actually the brand Alpine Stars, which is a really good like motorcycle racing jacket brand. These can sell from 60 to like upwards 100 or more dollars depending on the style. This style was selling for generally around 75, so that's what I listed it for, and it sold literally in just a few days for $67. So I was super happy with that pickup. Had a couple little spots on it I didn't really bother cleaning, since this is kind of like a complicated piece, since it's all padded and stuff. I was like, I'm just gonna list it the way it is, and yeah, it still sold really quickly. So some of them, by the way, will say Alpine Stars. This one didn't, so maybe keep an eye out for that A star symbol, or just anything with this kind of motorcycle-y style. It had like heavy duty padding and stuff like that in the shoulder area. Okay, what else? Okay, I was so excited when I found this, guys, the bins. This is my first time ever finding a Patagonia cinchilla jacket. I live in Southwest Florida, so I do not find a lot of Patagonia, honestly. I actually found it like twice though in 1 week, like last week I think at the bin, so I was happy about that. But yeah, this is really cute. I love the like forest green color. I listed it for 36. I had someone really interested in it, was trying to like, negotiate a bit with me, so I took a $25 offer from them for it. And yeah, these seem to go for, they can go for just like 25. They can go for more if they're a really rare print or something. So it kind of depends on the color and pattern, how much you're going to get for one. But I was happy taking 25. It came from the bins. And I just want it gone quick. It literally sold in less than 24 hours. So yeah. All right. What's next? Okay. I found these a while ago at the bins. These are some men's Lululemon joggers. They had some pilling on them. When I found them, they actually had paint on them, guys. There was some paint marks, but it was already kind of flaking and stuff. This might sound weird, but one thing I do when I'm at the bins and there's kind of like a paint mark or a food mark or something on something, is I will take my fingernail and I'll like scratch it a bit, and I'll see if it starts to kind of come off a little bit with just a little bit of scrubbing. And if it does, that's usually a good sign that I could get it out pretty easily. So that's what I did with these, and I got all the paint off of them, and they still had quite a bit of pilling. They're men's extra large. I had them listed for a few months, and I was really surprised they weren't moving, because in the past, men's Lululemon sells so fast for me. It might have just been because of the pilling though or something, or maybe they're like, because I couldn't find the exact style name or whatever for them. Anyways, they finally sold for $20, so I was happy about that. But yeah, I frequently recover Lululemon items at the bins and have to like rehabilitate them into a sellable state, but that's kind of like fun to me. Sometimes I see it as like a challenge. If it's like a brand or an item I'd like really love finding, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this anyways, even though it's gonna take a little work, and I'm gonna see how clean can I get this, how good can I get the stains out, I don't know, I'm weird. Okay. And then next up, I found these Travis Mathew pants. This is a pretty good menswear brand. Has a little M logo on them you can look out for. These had a little bit of wear, like the one pocket was ripped. And I think that was the only major flaw. They had like kind of like some pilling washwear a little bit. So not like in the most perfect condition, but they still sold for $18 on eBay. So I was happy with that. All right, next up, just an example of kind of basic brand, but in 100% linen, does well. This is Rachel Zoe. It's 100% linen, just lightweight cardigan. This sold in like a week or so for $15 on eBay. I pretty much pick up almost everything 100% linen that I find at the bins because people really want those natural fabrics. All right, this was a fun find. This is a dress I saw at the bins. It was actually like someone had taken it out of a clothing bin and like looked at it and threw it in like a hard goods bin. And I just walked by and saw this really colorful looking dress and I was like, let me look at that. The brand is called Me to Magic. And when I looked it up, everyone was listing it as something sold at Anthropologie, and they had a really good sell-through rate, honestly. And they were selling for like, $30 to $40. This sold for $32 in just a couple weeks of listing it. So definitely a great bins find, and I would look out for that Me to Magic brand. Next up, okay, I have sold a skirt like this once before. I had like a brand though. This one was just kind of one of those like made in Nepal, like India kind of things, and it didn't have any brand or anything, but it's like one of these like kind of wrap skirts, and they have really funky adjustable snap buttons and stuff, and so just really fun style. And so I picked this up and it sold for $19 in just a couple weeks. And this is the kind of item I also list on Depop as well. Just really funky kind of vintage things. That's what I list over there. Okay, this is a nudes bodysuit. Once again, just this kind of like seamless bodysuit. If it like seems like a more modern, nicer quality brand, I usually look them up. And this one had a decent sell-through rate. This sold in like a week for $15, and it also came from the bins. Okay, these are some Aloe yoga leggings. Definitely another athletic brand that is worth getting. They usually say Aloe on them, kind of where like a Lululemon symbol would be. These are an extra small, so I did sell them a little bit cheaper just because that size can be hard to move. And they sold for $16, and they also came from the bins. Okay, this was, oh my gosh, such a fun vintage nightgown. I listed this and it literally sold. Like, I listed it before I went to bed, and when I woke up the next morning, it had sold on Poshmark and eBay, both, while I was sleeping. I'm like, seriously, why does this happen? So I had to cancel the Poshmark one because it sold like second. But anyways, this is a beautiful vintage nightgown. Oh my gosh, I had all this little embroidered flowers, lace, so many things going for it. I had a little waist height, and then it also had a matching robe, coat, however you want to call it, house coat, to go with it. I had a couple small spots. This is the brand Barbizon, which is a vintage nightgown brand. Seems to do a little bit better. I don't exactly know the era of this. I would think like 50s, 60s, something like that. Just absolutely beautiful. And yeah, not surprising. It sold so quickly for $49. This is the kind of thing I love finding at the bins. Next up is a J-Gel piece. I talk about J-Gel a lot, I feel like, and I show it a lot in my hauls, so I want to show you something that's sold from J-Gel for a decent price. This is their Pure Gel line. It was a cotton cashmere blend, very small amount of cashmere, but still like to throw that in there. And it was kind of just like a boxy top, size large, and this sold for my full asking price of $20. Full asking price while on sale. Let me note that. So yeah. Yeah, I was happy with that. That moved pretty quickly from the bins. Next up, like I said, I'm finding some Barefoot Dreams. They all have this really distinctive, almost like chenille, fuzzy material. So soft. This was an extra small and kind of a weird, style and stuff with the sleeves and stuff, at least to me. And so I didn't know how it would perform, but it still sold in just a week or two for $15 on an offer. So happy with that. These were an interesting looking Nike I picked up at the bins. With basic Nike sneakers, I honestly ignore them a lot of time at the bins. It's probably like a bad habit, honestly. Now that my husband's been going with me where he picks them all up, so I've like actually started looking them up a bit more. You never know what you can find because these look kind of basic, but they were like Nike Zoom, and then the name on them was like Wild Horse, and they said Nike Trail on the back, and they kind of had like some nice treading on the bottom. So I thought maybe these are more for hiking kind of thing. So I looked them up, and this style had a really good sell-through rate, and these sold in just a week for $35. So not bad for Nikes because there's so many styles that just aren't worth a lot. So I was happy to find something at the bins that actually was pretty profitable. Okay, next up, another item that was lost in my inventory and never got listed. Some men's Lucky Brand jeans that were brand new at tags. And the men's Lucky Brand jeans always have like the style name on them and stuff on the inside. This was the 181 Relax Straight. I listed these for 30 and they wound up selling in just a few days for 25. So if you're like me and you don't manage to get everything listed after it's put away or whatever, definitely go through and see, especially with the season changing. You might have some items that are literally perfect for this upcoming season that you just need to get listed right now so that they can actually move for you. Okay. I don't know what's going on here. Let me try refreshing this. I have so many tabs open. Let me start closing these out. Okay, it seems like it's possibly loading. Alright, let's just go look at the Depop while those refresh. Okay, so this is like the style of Y2K skirt. I've gotten pretty good at finding at the bins. I have two of this kind of style. So this one's a maxi, and it has kind of more of this like flowy, renaissance-y looking vibe. But yeah, whenever I see these kind of skirts and they're like 100% silk, clearly kind of a early 2000s style, I grab them. This one wound up selling for $19 on Depop pretty quickly, even though it didn't have like a tear or anything. It just had this really weird wrinkle that just wouldn't go away. So I did highlight that. I'm sure they could iron it or seam it out. The thing about Depop that's crazy is you get so many views on your items on there. I do boost my items because Depop charges really low fees already, and to boost an item, it just takes like 8% more when you sell it or something, but their fees are really low already, so I don't mind doing that. But this item had 84 likes, guys, in like just a couple weeks. And I know it lets you see somewhere on here your views, and it'll be like 10,000 views on an item. It's like crazy. Now, I'm guessing a lot of them are like young teens or young adults that don't have a lot of money or something, because it takes a lot more views to sell an item, but things are moving on there, and there are definitely buyers looking for items on there. And that's why I list funky, artsy, vintage things over on Depop. And so next up, this was another lost in my inventory item, this cool wolf sweatshirt. Anything like with wolves like this, a lot of the mountain shirts are like this. I usually try to pick those up. This came from the bins, and it wound up selling for $13, I think. So I was just like open to moving it because it'd been sitting in my inventory for like a year unlisted. So yeah, I was happy to sell that. And what's next? Oh my gosh, guys. This is something I've had listed for so long. It was like a little Talbot sweater. It had these little like knit beads like knit into it. I thought it was so cute. I thought this kind of thing would sell well. It was pretty small. It was like the tag had been cut off, but I could clearly tell it was a Talbot tag. Anyways, it'd been listed for so long on all these other platforms. I finally just cross-listed at eBay or to Depop for $7 and had a lot of interest in it. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. 9,800 views on this. And it wound up selling for like $6, but at least it is gone. It has a new home. It's not taking up space in my inventory for another year. And yeah, so even some of this funky kind of grandma knit stuff is worth listing on Depop, definitely. So I'll probably, if anything, go through and see with it going into fall winter, do I have any other funky sweater cardigans that I wouldn't have thought to throw on Depop? Then maybe I just should to see if they'll move. Okay, next up, this is something I grabbed at the bins recently. Just had this little like mock neck lace collar, just giving off like 90s preppy style to me. So I grabbed that at the bins and it sold for $12 on Depop fairly quickly. And not like an exciting brand like it's just Cable and Gauge. Depop is a lot more about the style of the item than the brand. And so this was another example of that kind of Y2K skirt, kind of just like a straight waistband across, and then you have like A-line flowy silk skirts. And this is like cheetah print, and definitely a very Y2K style tag there too. So this is the kind of thing I'm looking for at the bins that I find pretty often a lot of people pass up on. And this one only got 70 views and it's still sold, so that's pretty good. It sold pretty quickly, I think. Let's see if these ever loaded. Okay, so I had a Chico's jacket. I'm like a little mixed picking up like Chico's jackets and stuff like this because they haven't always performed the best for me. But I grabbed this one at the bins anyways because it was size 3, which is extra large in Chico's. And I figured let me just try it. And it actually sold in just a couple days for $16. So I was super happy about that. And the next thing was this Boston Celtics vintage sweatshirt. My hubs picked this up at the bin, so we went together. I probably would have looked at it anyways because it was like a vintage sports sweatshirt. Otherwise, I'm a little picky with sports stuff. Haven't always had the best luck with it. But anyways, this one's clearly vintage from like the 80s or 90s, and it sold pretty quickly for an offer of $24. I'm sorry. So that's it, guys, for today's sales. Thank you so much for watching. We'll try to get a haul up soon. Getting into the 3rd trimester of my pregnancy, so not sure how often I'll be on here sharing videos and stuff, but I will do my best to at least stay consistent with the what sold videos since those are super easy to whip out even when I'm not looking and feeling my best. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more reselling content. Have a blessed day.